Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have an unbalanced rack and non-bingo-y. And the real problem here with so many consonants is leaving a really consonant-heavy rack leave. I could play lax or max or tax, but then that's leaving 4 consonants, which isn't good. However, max, 24 points, so probably better than changing, and the consonants are at least bingo-y ones, so I'm completely out of jail if I draw 2 vowels. But there is a way to play off 2 consonants. Sorry, 1 more consonant than the ones I mentioned with lanx. This rack leave is less bingo-y, but it's, in terms of the actual consonants, but it's better because it's simply less vulnerable to drawing only consonants. I'm going with this. Wow, and I draw just 1 vowel. If I'd played off 1 fewer tile, I may not have drawn that U. And I'm faced with a very similar problem. I could play something like come or mud, but then that's leaving 4 consonants. Maybe there'll be another way of playing 3 consonants. Lanx has the merit in that it doesn't take any hooks. So no column 6 or column 11 plays available. And therefore no access to double word squares. Through the right vowel I may be able to play off more than just 3 consonants. Not immediately seeing such a play through the A. What do I have through that A? Wow, what a start for opponent. Absolutely fantastic. The N of very little use to me. I think. A play of Kern, only 18 points and an awful rack leave. So I could play Dictum, which certainly sorts the rack out. It does take an S, which is a bit painful. That provides the opportunity for opponent to score a bingo-y score with a non-bingo-y word. But it's sorting the rack out, the score's okay. And that S hook is simply 1 more hotspot. This triple word square is an existing one that I'm leaving available. I am going with this. And I draw a ton of vowels. And I think it's going to be one of these games. Now, there are floating consonants. There's certainly a floating L. I thought I had air radio. That would need 2 A's. And I am contemplating the L, T and M with a view to a 5 vowel 8, but I'm not seeing one. I have the aero prefix. No, not seeing anything there. Wow, nice score by opponent. And he pretty much takes out, or does take out, that S danger. So this N I probably can make use of, given my vowels. I don't have a play which goes beyond it, because only an H goes next to the C. But what do I have that ends in N? Well, really struggling to see anything, and I'm looking for a longer play which uses more vowels. Any of my vowels go next to the D. What about a play across row H? So that would have to begin A or E. No, not seeing such a play. Well, I have ordain. There may be something better. And double E isn't the best rack leave, but it's not the worst either. And 33 points, pretty decent. Well, a non-bingo Iraq for a different reason this time, duplicate Y, but the Y is a scoring tile, and opponent is not too far ahead of me. Now I don't have an A for Y-A-Y, so I may struggle to play off both Ys, which I'd certainly like to do. Now Yup is good, so I could play Yelt. I could play I, E-Y-E. What else is available? Well, XU takes nothing before or after, so the whole of the left of the board is pretty dry. It's a good spot for bingos, but any non-bingo play is going to score very little. So what if opponent takes out column 13? And well, now I have a T, which goes in front of wit. He has taken out my Y spot in front of up. A play could begin with the T. So what do I have down here? I have Toey, which preserves L to go with the Y. Toey does not take an S, so this isn't hugely dangerous. 28 points, pretty good. And not really giving away very much at all. So I am going with this. Finally, a half-decent rack. Not sure there's a bingo here, a 7, but it looks balanced. So where are the... Wow, great bingo by opponent. He's now 85 points in front. I have Yerd in column 8, so if I don't have a bingo, I do have a decent score and rack leave. Wow, I may have a play in row N, 5-letter play, ending EY. Ridley is certainly good, and, well, Dialy doesn't fit. But do I have a bingo here? So I'm not seeing anything with the L. What about this N? No, not seeing anything there. Any other floaters to consider? Well, there's D. The Y is likely to be at the beginning or the end of the word. So let me see what Yerd scores. That's 36 points and a decent rack leave. 51 points. Quite tempting. I do trail. Opponent may score highly in column 1, or he may see that as a danger and score very little. I'm also creating 2 spots, which is better than creating 1 because it means I will have access to at least one of them. But is there something a little better than Ridley? Maybe a 5-letter play? That's 51. 47, keeping DR. Yeah, I think this is better. This may not be good. It is fantastic, but not a good pickup. I think sticking the R in column 1 would have been unnecessarily volatile, given that I'm reasonably close to opponent and there's still a lot of the game to go. So what am I going to do here? Well, play off the Q, the K rather. This spot remains available. I don't think I have any KI plays. I think Kuri and Kuti are both good, but not seeing a good spot for them. Well, no, I'm not seeing a good spot for them, and I don't have an E for going underneath OY. So, not an easy rack to sort out. Wow, opponent leaves alone everything here. and scores 47 points with only 2 tiles. So I could play Dirk, but the rack leave is horrendous. Are there any K plays in column 8, even if they don't place the K on the double letter square? No, not seeing any. K can go in front of I. I think Tiki is good. Let me see what that scores. 27 points. Not a great rack leave, but it's taking out quite a hot spot. But it would just be so much better if I could play Kuti or Kuri. But the L doesn't take a U. Is there anywhere else I should be looking? Fur Kid from an F. The real problem with playing... well, I think Tiki isn't terrible. This is a hot spot. An awful lot of constants can go here. It's not providing anything. It's taking out row O as a high-scoring spot. If opponent had an E, 27 points is okay. And look at this, no U's to come. I think that's conclusive. Wow, I draw a blank. And this U, I think, is acting as a bit of a party pooper in terms of bingoing. I would have Siluride through an L. Both of these L's don't work. So I haven't given up on bingoing here. There are 7-letter lanes available. 35 points for opponents. He leads by 90, but I would come right back into it if I had a bingo. So 11 minutes on my clock, 36 tiles in the bag. And I'm sort of looking for 7s, but also keeping in mind R, D, and L. Not seeing anything so far. D, R, and L. So I have the oid ending. I might come back to that. Now that looks pretty bingo-y. I don't think Diurion is good. What about the Q with the U? Nope. That's Siluroid, which doesn't fit. Ten minutes on my clock. Virusoid through an S. Okay, so slightly frustrating. I thought there may be one here. I wasn't expecting there to be many, but there appears to be none. And of course I don't have any scoring tiles, so this is going to be a low-scoring play. I think Dewey is better than changing. I do need to play off U and I, and I think the D is the only way of achieving that 10 points. Bearing in mind an S is worth 8 to 10. It's not the worst score in the world, but can I do better than that? What about scoring off the ZE? When you don't have scoring tiles, you look at scoring tiles on the board. Can't score off the Z. Now, I would have Utilidor. Oh, wow, that's another bingo through an L, which gets blocked. I was going to revisit Oid. Let me do that onto this D. So I'd be using up OI. No, not seeing anything. But is there somewhere better to play Dewey? Or to just play UI? The D does help the rest of the rack. No, I don't think so. Dewey for 10. Why has that come off? Dewey for 10. Phew. Okay, well, surely I am bingoing now. I have Rosina, row J. Wow, look at this. No really good scoring lanes. I think Dewey has taken out row E, which would have been a double word square. Well, there is this A. Do I have a bingo ending in A? I could do. But I'm not seeing it. But I am confident of bingoing somewhere. Famous last words. But at the moment I've only got row J. The D not particularly useful because I'll be providing access to triple word squares. L unlikely to be the last letter in a play. I have Lorena as a 7, which also goes in row J. Great, that remains available. Opponents provided nothing unless there's a play through A-N-E. So is there any reason not to play in row J? It would only be column 8 or 12 which would score more. Is there really nothing ending in L? Ritornell. Yeah, that'll work. Phew. Ritornell for 66. Wow, pretty good. I have Crashed and H-Ards, which play in row J. Do I have anything through the new floaters? Possibly not. How about anything ending in A? No, I have Hard Case, but I don't think that has an anagram. What about this L? Gosh, this looks like there could be a play through it. Not seeing it. It would be fantastic to play Crashed. Aha, our opponents played Goy, one of the forbidden words, which are going to be banned from the 1st of January next year. So, ritornell is quite a cool word. It takes an L at the end, and then I think ritornell with double L takes a massive number of vowel hooks at the end, something like E, I, O, and S. But that's not going to be happening in this game. Opponent taking a while with his play. I trail by 40. If he doesn't bingo, I could be about to take the lead. Still one blank to come. And the remaining pool, well, contains quite a lot of non-bingo-y tiles. V's, W, J, F, B. Does opponent have any of those? J could go in front of A-N-E, but difficult to score twice because F doesn't take an A in front. Now, I should be using this time to look for bingos should Crashed be blocked or H-Ards. I would have searched through an E. Oh wow, opponent does bingo. But look at this, I can play H-Ards and Restated. So, not over yet. Searched also playable through this E. What about the T? I don't think so. What about the S? No, not seeing anything there. So, this is what I was thinking of. H-Ards for 76. So easy for opponent to score through the H, but the C stops a big parallel play. And I'm creating 2 hotspots through the H and down column 1, but the column 1 play is for 6-letter words. 16 tiles in the bag, and I trail by 100. Is this the play? So what are the alternatives? I do have 7 minutes. There are 16 tiles in the bag, but I'm about to draw 7 of them. So do I have a double-double onto the O? No. I could play crashed, but for far fewer points. Or is it, what am I getting from misstated? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points, pretty good. And what else is available if I don't play Echards? It's crashed in row G. Yeah, I'm coming back to this. And I draw V and W. I trail by 26. Wharf doesn't quite fit, it's too long. Not seeing a 6-letter play, so I don't think either of these spots help me. Wow, look at the remaining pool, very non-bingo-y. And that probably suits opponent in terms of the high-scoring tiles, because he can just keep scoring. I would have, well, I was thinking of liveware, but I would need my A to be an E or an I, and the right floater, so miles away from that. I probably do have a WH play. Well, just WHA. But am I going to make back this 25-point deficit? I don't think I am. £39 points for opponents, and his play has opened up. This C was a blocker, but now it's not. But if I played in column 1, do I have anything to go in front of HE? No, I don't. Does opponent? He could have the S. Wow, so that might be a really cool play by opponent if he's got the S. However, I can play through this H. I can play wheel, keeping a really good 4-letter set. The A is quite valuable with no A's available. And 36 points, also pretty good. Not a great pickup, V and G. Well, I kept the V, but the G and the P go badly together and with the V. But the F, the other V, or the G would also have gone very badly. And I draw the S for she. Gosh, opponent didn't have it. I guess it wasn't obvious that he did. Hebe was simply a good score. Wow, and I'm 60 points behind. And opponent plays, well, that's why I'm 60 points behind. Opponent has just played. What am I going to do here? 1 tile in the bag. Is there any hope of a bingo? Well, yes, I could have Asperger onto the R if I play off the V, and I can do that in quite a subtle way, because this is quite a decent score. Anywhere better for the V. 4 minutes on my clock. No, I don't think so. And I draw the E, so I think I have Asperger and Presager, but surely opponent will block. And I would have Pier Gals through an L, but again, there are floating L's and they're not in quite the right spot. Opponent may be able to outrun me. He already leads by over 50 points. But I will be getting something on count back. He may have a 6-letter play in column 1. I'm not sure about Goofer, but if that's good, then he'll score a lot. No, it's not. Okay. So, opponent has spotted the danger. Well done to him. I don't think I have another spot, but let me consider. I think it's just pair Gals through the L. What about L and T? I could have a play ending let. So something like spargelet isn't good. What else is available? Not sure there are any other two-letter sets. Hebe takes a T in front. Any other lanes? No, I don't think so. His opponent going out with Gopher. Well, he is if I don't play in column 1, but I minded to play there. Anyway, for the score, 32 points. It's not going to win. My only hope of winning is a bingo, so let me have one more think about this. What other lanes are there? Nothing ending VOR or VORD. Is there really nothing ending in A? What would that look like? I don't think there is. Okay, I'm coming back to Sparge for 32. Well, let me change that slightly to Gasper. A few more points, 38. And opponent may not be able to go out. However, he is certainly going to win this game. Supposing he doesn't go out, what do I do with my E? 4 points, 4 points, 12 points for Joe and N. Anything to beat that? Now, I guess the W was a floater last turn. I could have had a play ending something something W. Don't think there is such a play. 9 minutes on opponent's clock. EY not good. Okay, so I've got Joe in 2 spots, and then I've got CHE and EA. Well, quite an open game. Just this hole in the top middle. Otherwise, the tiles fairly broadly spread, so not really a tight game. And quite a few bingos on the board. So, what can opponent do with Gopher? Can't see anywhere for that as a 5. Forge is the more common anagram. Opponents played Fog. Great, and I have Joe to go out. And the final score, 432 for me, 452 for my opponent, a winning margin of 20 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. Well, what a game. Quite close, but I couldn't see a way to win. Now, it was me to go first, and I played Lanx. Max was the alternative I considered. Great bingo for opponent without lane. And now I played Dictum for 17, I 13. I could have played Adduct. Okay, interesting, that wouldn't have interfered with the N. And a slightly worse rack leave, so not much between those plays. Opponent's rack, pretty horrible, plays Pube. And now my rack, phew, no missed bingo here. And I play Ordain for 33. Edo for 33, quite nice. Interesting, H12 Edo, the points are the same, but how do these rack leaves compare? AEIR is vowel heavy, but they're bingo-y tiles, so I think AEIR might have been a better rack leave. Double E, I think, is negative, maybe -1 or -2, but AEIR, I would say, is positive. Maybe 2 or 3 points, so there could actually be a 5-point difference between these rack leaves, in which case Edo would have been a significantly better play. Opponent's rack plays Wit, and I played Toei for 28, Yellowy F12. Wow, look at that, through L and W and playing off both Ys. That would definitely have been the play. Well done if you spotted that. Now, opponent's rack, and a fantastic bingo, which would not have been available if I'd played Yellowy. And opponent takes an 85-point lead. My rack, I thought about Ridley, and then switched to Liney, and I'm still happy with that. Great rack for opponent. So if I'd played Ridley, there would have been an R, second to last. Okay, not well. Opponent could have played Zari, ZAI, massive score, and a fantastic rack leave. Now, opponent, wow, missed bingo. Atrazines for 83, G5 through NE, 9-letter play, and Zitty available, retaining the blank in column 8. Gosh, and instead, opponent plays Zoa for 47. Not a terrible play, but definitely better ones available. Now, horrible rack. I played Tiki for 27. Zek available for 17 more points, but keeping this rack leave. Interesting. Is DIRU 17 points better than DIIRTU? I don't think it is. So DIRU, I would say, is negative. DIR is positive, the U drags it back, so it's not massively negative, maybe -4 or 5. DIIRTU, I would say between -10 and 15, so there might be a 10-point difference there. But it's a 17-point difference in score, so possibly Zek a better play. But one of the points of playing Tiki was to take out this column 8 danger, which Zek wouldn't have done. Now, opponent's rack. Plays Chi, could have played Cat in the same spot. And now, my rack. Phew, no missed bingo. And I played Dewey for 10, and only 6 more points on offer, and Dewey keeps the R. Ah, but this is Dewey for 16 points, not 10. Gosh, Dewey could have played beside O, R, and D. It would have taken out D as a floater. It would have taken out the whole of the top of the board, so possibly not ideal. There were bingo lanes available, but only rows J and G, and they could both have been taken out, so Dewey does have some merit. It preserves 2 bingo lanes ending D, but definitely more points were available. Wow, another missed bingo for opponent. Plays Fag. Could have played Stageful, which is a word I've missed before in a face-to-face tournament. Gabfest, tricky one to see, J3, and not, and Stageful elsewhere. So I trail by 110, but I have this rack, and I have Ritornell for 66. There's a ton of other bingos in row J. Opponent comes straight back with S-stated, and I have Echards for 76, F6 Cressard available through the R, and Crashed and Searched. Interesting. Echard scores the most, but does create this hotspot. but I trail, so is that a good thing to do? Difficult to know. Horrible rack for opponent. Plays Hebe, my rack, and I play wheel for 36, keeping the V, which is a useful scoring tile, but so much junk to come in terms of consonants. Probably better off playing it. So D4, waver. How does that work? Because wheel wouldn't have been down. Waver. Yeah, probably worth doing. HER only takes a C in front, so I wouldn't be leaving this triple word square available. Yeah, waver would have been a better play. However, 3 tiles in the bag. That's after wheel. Yeah, so waver would not have emptied the bag. Now, opponent's rack plays Joe. I play off the V because I think I need a bingo to win. And opponent spots my bingo in row B and blocks it. And now, my only way to win is with a bingo. I trail by 60, but I will definitely win with any bingo anywhere. So, was there one? Phew, there was not, and Gasper scores the most, so that does look best. And opponent has a couple of outs with the same word, D5. Froglet through L and T. And also through L and T in column 7. So very difficult to see. Plays Fog. And finally I have Joe for 12. So, what a game. Absolutely tremendous fun. And I was within reach at the end and could have overtaken my opponent if he didn't block my bingo. So that was a splendid play on his part to secure the win. So many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.